Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the sound test room. Okay, so tonight we are going to take a look at the KeyStep Pro with an iPad, using it with an iPad, so no external hardware, just the KeyStep Pro, controlling iPad synths. Okay, so we're using AUM. You don't need to use AUM, but it's easier to see what's going on. Here you will see that we have a BS16. This is going to be providing drums for us because it maps perfectly. It's MIDI drums. Two amazingly cool Synthmaster ones here, a Xeon and I think it's a Continua, doing kind of different things. Now I'm gonna play this little jam thing that I've set up today, and then we can go through the whole thing. I'm no expert, obviously. I only got it a couple of days ago, so I don't know everything. But I know enough to kind of get you going with the basics if you were thinking of getting one to use with your iPad or your external gear or a mixture of both. You know, you can use it to control well, pretty much anything you like, really. So I'm going to shut my gob and just play this thing for a few minutes, and then I'll go through how basically what's going on. But it's pretty straightforward, actually, but to give you an idea. So I have got 8 scenes set up here, up to 8. Ignore 9 to 16, there's nothing in them, but 1 to 8 are scenes that I've programmed, different patterns and stuff. So as I'm changing scenes, you'll watch certain things here change as well. Okay, and then I'll go through how it all works and stuff, and what you can do, and how would it be useful for you as a performance tool. It's mainly designed as a performance tool. Of course, you can use it as a MIDI keyboard just to record stuff into other DAWs and stuff like that. But the most entertaining thing, of course, is the performance aspect of it, and it really is quite cool. What it can do. Anyway, so we'll start with obviously scene 1, and I'll close the microphone and get going. Anyway, there you go. So that's the kind of cool stuff you can do. You can set up all kinds of scenes and stuff. The scenes are brilliant because the scenes remember everything that's set up. Okay, so let's go look. Track 1, track 2, track 3, track 4. Track 1 can be either a sequencer track, polyphonic sequencer, or mono, depends, anything you like, or a drum track. This is BS16 because BS16 is brilliant for this. And then it can also be a sequencer track, but there's nothing assigned to like track 1 sequencer. If I add another synth now and let that run at MIDI 1, let's just do this quickly. Excuse me. For instance, let's go something that's going to roll pretty crap. Phosphor 3. And I route my Phosphor 3 here at just none, and I'll go filter channel 1 MIDI. Okay, assign it to the KeyStep Pro, and I'll make sure I'm on sequence. We have Phosphor now. Been played by channel 1. And the drums been played by channel 2. I don't think I can record 2 sequences, one with drums and one with the sequencer. I don't think I can do that, but the point is that track 1 can either be a drum sequencer or a music sequencer sort of thing. Anyway, and because it's like run through MIDI, the drums go from like MIDI channel 10. Okay, so that's the idea. All right. So track 2 by default will be MIDI channel 2, which is this here. So this synth master, and if you go down here, you'll see that I've got the channel filter set to channel 2. Same for 3. Which is this synth master here, channel 3. Xeon, which is in channel 4. And also Continua, which is also in channel 4. So I can have multiple synths all on the same channel and just mix between, change out the sounds, that kind of thing. So well, the maximum polyphony, I'm not really sure. It's a lot. It plays a lot, but I'm not really. I haven't checked that, so it's loads. I suppose it depends as well on the synth. It's only a MIDI controller at the end of the day. It's only, it's only controlling synths, but I don't know about the actual maximum polyphony of the KeyStep. So anyway, that's kind of how you route it up. It's that easy. Look, one cable, USB cable into your audio interface or into your iPad, and that's it. There's no extra cables to actually put in. And of course, if I take a MIDI out now into like something else, like the Matrix Brute, and another MIDI out into something else, then I could set them to the same channels and have them play as well. It's pretty versatile. But it becomes really good fun when you can see the kind of cool stuff you can do. So what I'm going to do, this is what I would recommend. You can store, I think, up to 16 projects. Then you can back the projects up, like the MIDI projects sort of thing. So if I'm using this with the iPad, the most sensible thing to do would be to call the session in AUM or whatever the same as the session in this, so that if I ever want to come back to it, like I'll give you a really good example of this, right? So I'm going to save my project here. So hit save and hit project. and it says save project to confirm, and then you press the little encoder to confirm, and then that saves that project. Okay, then if we hold project and go to say project 1, there's nothing in project 1. So let me just load project, hold project, turn it to 1, and then hit load. There's nothing in project 1's empty, there's nothing in it. But there's still, they still correspond to the same MIDI channel, right? Because the default for the KeyStep, which you can change, by the way, in the actual little menu thing, it's easy to change the MIDI channels, but they default to 1 for the sequence, 10 for the drums, 2 for the second sequence in track 2, channel 3 for track 3. It's kind of self-explanatory, apart from the drums, which is obviously channel 10, because that's kind of standard, right? So the thing is, right, there's nothing now in project 1, and I've saved, I saved my other project as project 2, so just turn it off, right? But I'm going to save this, which is called KSP project 2, KeyStep Pro project 2, save. We've got to go yes, and then if I clear this out now, clear, and we could actually close AUM like this, and then we could reopen it. I just want to show you how it all loads back up properly. Like this, you're not like messing around. So if you were in a live situation and you wanted to perform live with the KeyStep Pro and the iPad and maybe other hardware and synths and stuff, if we open up our project here, which is, let me just go to files, KSP project 2, like this, it'll load up our instruments, obviously, like any normal project in AUM. It's great, do you know what I mean? Like, and then we can turn our KeyStep Pro on, let it run through its Vegas mode first, and then we want to, it'll default to project 1, which is 120 BPM. So all we need to do is press project, keep hold of it, go to project 2, and then just load project. And now project 2 is loaded. We should, and I'm going to make sure I'm on scene 1. Yes, it should now just be like, that's because I sped up my, this track for the end. But if we look here, I've got it on 132. Hold shift and gives you access to all the things in blue. Okay, so the time division there's, I want it on 116, and I really ought to save that to that scene. So save scene 1, and it'll have saved my time division, but because I saved the project with it speeded up, so now it's back to normal, and it'll be exactly the same project as it was. Focus on 4. Everything that is saved in a scene or memory is recalled. So if I want to start with like track 4 selected for me to play, like that, for instance, or without the Z on, so just wanted to start with the continuer, which is track 4, and I want to remember that with each scene, I need to save my scene. Okay, so again, we hit save, scene, hit the scene we want to save. And if I now go to another scene, which is scene 2, which has that kick in, the focus is still on channel 4. Let me go back to the previous scene. It's still 4. And I can jam over the top. Now you might have noticed, although that's muted, I can still play over it. All it's muting is the MIDI data, not the ability for me to jam over the top of the synth. Do you know what I mean? So like, if I unmute this now, it's going to play pattern 1, which isn't what I want, because I've got pattern 1. I've got pattern 1 saved for another scene later, with that is not muted. So everything I press scene-wise is recalled via this. The control panel, the control section here, control knob, basically swaps these encoders to assignable MIDI controllers. So for instance, on Zvon here, if you watch a cutoff, say I go to track 4 and I turn this, which is, I don't want to turn pitch. Let me turn randomness because I can go all the way back up to normal. But you'll see that nothing on this is going to change. And even if I change the pitch, nothing would change. The gate, nothing would change. But if I go to control changes them now to assignable parameters for your MIDI controller. So now you'll see that if I change pitch, which I have assigned to CC74, you'll see it'll control or cut off. And what's cool is it'll remember the position it's in. So you can actually see if you've got different controllers set up. You won't hear that so much because it's not turned up. Awesome. So I think the best way to do this is if we set up a completely fresh project. And I know that there's nothing in project 1, so we'll use project 1. That's nice and easy. I won't bother changing all this. What I will do is I'll just rename the project and save it as something different or whatever. I don't know. Actually, can I? I think, do you know what? I think I'll just start a new project. So I'll clear that one out and start with 1, 2, 3, 4. We'll start with 4. And on the KeyStep, I will go to project, hold, go to 1 and load project 1, which will give me a default kind of, these numbers on here, by the way, these are patterns. You can have up to 16 patterns per project, per track sort of thing, but you can have them independent and you can have them swapped out and all sorts of cool stuff. It's really good actually. The next demo I do with the KeyStep, I'm going to try and get the KeyStep to play the wave state, but the separate channels, so independent control over each of the channels of the wave state. Because the wave state doesn't have like an internal sequencer, so this will work nice with that. I've also got a tutorial I'm going to do where I show you how to get the iPad to play the wave state as well. Same kind of principle, but in reverse. Anyway, so we need to set up some stuff. Well, I'm going to go with audio unit extensions, and instead of using BS16 for this on channel 1, I'm going to use Rusemaker FM. Yeah, but I'm going to do something different. I'm going to also put in channel 2. I'm going to put just an ordinary Rusemaker drum machine. So we've got a Rusemaker FM and a Rusemaker drum machine. The very first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that my track 1 here is set to drum, and I know that the drum track is MIDI channel 10. So although I could change it, but I don't want to. I like to keep it like, you know, as it should be. And you'll notice that you have up to 16 patterns, drums slot available. Well, we don't have 16 in Rusemaker FM or thing, but we need to do a bit of setting up for Rusemaker, obviously. So what we shall go is down here, and then none and channel 10, and also KeyStep Pro as the source. Same for Rusemaker. We'll just go to the bottom here, none, channel 10, and KeyStep Pro. And now we should be able to get a blend of both of those. You can't hear anything, right? There's a really good reason for that, is the fact that you need to go into general MIDI key map on both of these, like that. And now you'll have, what we're getting now is both kicks from the Rusemaker. But you'll notice, but they're not running as, because there's not that many drums in these. So you have to kind of work out what you want, but we only really want a kick. So we can make some adjustments to each one. Where's me? Oh, here we go. It's weird, isn't it? What I've done here. Right. And then we can also make some adjustments to this one as well. So we could maybe load a kit for this. Load, elect basic. Need to do the key map. So now we've got quite the kick. If I press play, now let me tell you the other very cool thing about the actual KeyStep is that it's built a built-in metronome. Now you can send the output of the metronome. Let me just move this a little bit so I can get to the actual. It's got a little what's it at the back, a little level control. So you're going to hear this through my microphone. It's got a metronome on it, which is brilliant for recording in it live for keys and stuff. I'll give you an idea of that in a minute. So say we didn't want to use like our step sequencer here, we can use the metronome to give us a counting. We can have a counting of up to 2 bars as well. So here's the key. To turn the metronome on and to use the counting, you have to have the metronome on as well. Oh, thank you very much. Thank you very much, RPG. Much appreciated, mate. To turn the metronome on, we hold shift, tap tempo. That's coming through this little speaker here. So you can so if you wanted to record it in live, you've got a metronome, which is what I'm going to do. So you need the metronome. But also, you can either have a quantized record or free record. Now, free recording with keys is, for me, is just brilliant because I don't necessarily want everything quantized all of the time. So to turn quantize off, you just hold shift, and underneath the little record button, it says quantize. You just turn it off. And now my recording would be unquantized, and that will be quantized, and we can check at any time by holding shift. Now the thing is here, for my drums, I do want it quantized basically. So I'm also going to set it longer than one bar sort of thing, which I have up to 64 steps. But as you saw, we have different time divisions, resolutions, so you can make it either slow down or speed up, which gives the illusion of more time, if you like. So let's have this over 2 bars, okay? And you can have it follow so you can see where you are. Okay, so let's just do this. Once I press play and record now, it's going to give me a counting of 1 bar because that's what I've got set in the memory, like this. So, and we'll stick with 120 BPM, but we can change our tempo if we want to. So let's see. So hold record and then press play, counting of 4. Done deal. Now we can turn our metronome off just by holding shift and tap tempo, and that's done. Make sure recorder's off. Now we can go and find another thing. Okay, I'm going to hold shift and put the drums into poly mode so we can play more than one note at a time. I'm going to So you have to set up your what's it. So I'm just going to stick with, but for this one, I'll show you. I'll put it in with the, you know, the what's it's, the hats. So now we've got a dead basic drum pattern on track one, using both a mixture of those to like give us a nice beefy drum sound kind of thing, right? So anyway, let's see some of the cool stuff we can do with the drums, shall we? But first of all, before I do anything, I'm going to save my project. Okay, so confirm project one. Now I'm also going to save the pattern. So you have to keep saving stuff as you go, because otherwise you'll lose stuff. So at this point now, I'm going to hit save pattern, and I'm going to call it pattern one. There, so that's pattern one. And I'll show you how you can cut and copy patterns as well in them if you have time. But maybe we could do that in another one. But it's easy to save, copy, cut, paste, build up patterns like that, and then just make adjustments to it. So here's our thing. And if we hold our shift button here, you can see certain things you can do. And what you can do with this is change the time division. Although it's still on 120 BPM. Triplets. 1/8 triplet. Like we've got quite a nice vibe going there. So I actually quite like that. And then you have, let me just put this back to what I had originally, which was 1/16, no triplet on. Also, when you first get this, you may be wondering, why is my metronome going like, you can set the resolution of the metronome in the little menu. If you're familiar with any of Arturia's menu stuff, they're all pretty much exactly the same the way they work. Anyway, so we have swing, okay, swing, so we can go global swing. From 50% up to, and it's for track one, so it's on a per track level sort of thing, which is pretty nice. But I like that kind of triplet 1/8 feel, so I'm going to keep that, and I'm going to hit save pattern, save it to pattern one, and I'm also going to save project as well. Brilliant. Let's go on to another synth now. Okay, so you get an idea of what's occurring. I'm going to go with a Synth Master Player. And I want to sound something from Sounds of the World. This is going to be on track 2, so I'm going to select track 2 here, like this, and I'm going to obviously now make sure that there's none there, and track 2 is selected. And also I am going to route to KeyStep. I'm definitely going to have this go over 4 bars, and I'm going to still have this as set as pattern 1. So that'll do. So I could, I guess, have a or I could wait till it runs all the way back. I'll have a bit of a practice first. Oh. So I'll just set my track 2 to the triplet feel as well, so it's kind of giving me a better idea. But I'm not going to have it quantized. So actually I'm just going to let this play and catch it on the way back around. Right, okay, not what I wanted there, so hold shift, clear, and that's cleared my pattern out. You also have an undo as well, so set it to 4 bars again. Wait, now, see, because I cleared the pattern, it's taken away my triplet feel as well. So I'm going to save this pattern as well while I'm here for for track 2 sort of thing. So save pattern and 1. So each pattern is different, do you know what I mean? And then, but then the actual scenes save all your variations of patterns and stuff, because you might only need 1 pattern to run through various patterns on other tracks as well, sort of thing. So now we're all in, now we've all got our timing sort of sorted out again. I'm going to switch this on so we get a count in and start again. And I need to delete that because I forgot. Oh. Right, so clear pattern again, set this, set that. Last step 64, shift, triplet 16. I'm going to turn off because it's making no sense at all, that in, with this feel. Here we go. Okay, so for instance, now say we can change the scaling of this as well. If I hold shift, I can change it to major minor, Dorian, Mixolydian, harmonic minor, blues. I can have 2 user scales and also change the root note as well. But also, it's not like it changes what your, so I can change the key to minor. Or Mixolydian. Which is very, very, very cool. But you get some great effects when you do it with sequences you've recorded. For instance, this one. It's major, which is what it is. Change it to minor. Back to normal. Okay, so let's mess around with the different ways that the actual thing. So right now I'm going to save this scene. Okay, I'm also going to save the pattern. So save, and this is important, keep saving stuff because you have a pattern restore, it like a reload thing. It's a reload, which is cool. So let's go. You hit save, and then whatever you want to save, your scene, your pattern, or your chain, or your project, or your whatever, you know. So save pattern. I'm just going to save that pattern in there. And patterns that have been saved, if you hit pattern, you'll see that highlight. Or if you've got like save and pattern, you'll see that that's been written, but there's nothing else in anything else. If there was some data in there that hadn't been saved, it'd be red. Or if there was some data to prevent you overwriting it, it'd flash red, sort of thing. Anyway, so now we've got that pattern saved. I think also on track 1, I think I also got that pattern saved as well. So we're good to go. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to save those 2 patterns as a scene, so you can see how to save the scenes. Again, it's really easy. You have up to 16 scenes you can save. Save. Scene. I'm going to save this as scene 1. Okay, so now when I hit scene, you'll see that my scene's lit up red, and that means I'm on scene 1. Okay, so we can then build up scenes like copy paste scenes, make adjustments, save scene, make adjustments, save scene. However, we'll stick with scene 1. I just wanted to show you how you can save a scene. Okay, and again, I'm going to just, because I have my OCD, I'm going to save project, because it's easy to keep saving stuff. And it's cool because once you get into the habit of saving stuff, recalling all this stuff is thingy. So I'll call this, what could I call it? Sorry, back, save this as KSP, KSP project 1. Because I want it to correspond to the project that's in the KeyStep. So save session, done. Okay, so sequence pattern. We've randomized it. Totally messed it up. Hit reload. Very cool. This will play it a different way. Change the scale. You might be able to see it. Let's throw a few extra notes in just for fun. Change the pitch of some stuff. Let's time shift some stuff. Let's randomize. So I've totally messed up my pattern. You might really like that, and you could then save that as a completely separate pattern or a completely separate scene. But if you didn't, and what's nice is the reload. shift and top job. So let's add one more. So let's go with, like, say, I don't know, doesn't really matter, does it? I don't suppose. I'm really like, Quanta. We'll put something in from Quanta. And I'm going to highlight this. And this time we're going to look at the Arpeggiator. You can choose between sequencer arpeggiator. For each track, you could have 3 arpeggiators, all doing different types of arpeggiator. 3 sequencers doing different types of sequence, like I had. 4 sequences if you want to use the drum track as a sequence instead. Or a basic mix and match of whatever you want, really. So we're going to use the ARP for this, but I need to set it up, obviously. So, excuse me. I'm going to set Quanta to channel 3. So not at the moment, channel 3. KeyStep Pro, obviously, as the source. And if we play, let's just mute them too. And you can hold so you don't need to record anything in with an arpeggiator. Basically, you just need to save it with your pattern. So, but the cool thing is here. Let's do this. Let's press hold. Things we can do with the arpeggiator. So again, if we hold shift, that won't do anything because it remembers what you've done. Excuse me. Time division. It also works with the scales. Has one octave down, one octave up, or up to 3 octaves up. Let's speed it up. Okay, so let's switch the ARP off, the hold off. And what was my other 2 playing? Key thing to remember is what now we've started shuffling everything sort of thing. We should really ought to do it for the same shuffle. So I really want a triplet feel on that as well. Otherwise, it's not going to sound quite right with the other stuff. So. How cool is that? Free now, we can choose 3 sets. Now, again, I'm going to go save project 1, save, And I'm on track 3 as well. I really ought to save pattern to pattern 1, but it will have saved because of the project as well. And what we could do now is save this. We could save this as another scene. And I'll show you some cool things you can do because we haven't changed pattern, but we haven't got any other patterns in. But say I just want this to come in, this arp to come in on like scene 2. Let's run a track. Very nice. Let's go save scene 2. Right, so now I've got 2 scenes. I'm going to play scene 2. Right, so now I'm going to go back to scene 1, which is exactly the same, but all I'm going to do with this one is I'm going to mute that like this, right? Mute track 3, and then I'm going to hit save scene 1. And what this has done is remembered that scene 1, track 3 is going to be muted, and it'll know that scene 4 isn't muted, so that should play scene 4 unmuted. Now, if you wanted to change the arpeggiator style per scene, you would need to actually change it, do like different patterns, sort of thing. So just so you know, if you're changing scaling, you're thinking, well, look, why is the scaling still the same? But you need to set a different pattern for that, obviously, because KeyStep doesn't know what you want to do. You have to tell it, sort of thing. Anyway, so here's pattern, I guess, scene 1 with pattern 1 with pattern 3 muted. Let's go straight to scene 3. Scene 2, sorry. Top job, cool beans. Get into the habit of saving all the live long day. But it's brilliant. Look, I mean, you have when it's in, like I said, when you're in control mode, you can map these to anything you want. Okay, you know, as you would with a normal MIDI controller. When it's in like ordinary track mode here, these become what they say they are. Okay, and like track mutes as well. Let's play this. Obviously hit and mute, but you can also solo as well. Is there no quantize? Yeah, too right, there's quantize blow. Yeah, there's quantize there, but I've chose to play some of these without quantize. But don't even question my time, bro. Right, so here's the sequence. There's the sequence with yeah, it's got quantize anyway. So soloing is easy, so we just hold shift. Cool beans. And then just auto mute. Top job. You can also, we'll get into this in another one as well because time is running out. You can't get through this thing in, 5 minutes sort of thing. Lupop did an amazingly brilliant tutorial for this. Really, really covered everything in super fine detail. You can chain patterns together and it will be remembered with the scene. So you could have, say, like 3 patterns playing kind of one after another in a scene sort of thing, going backwards and forwards. So, did you have to sign a record and play buttons in AM, or was it automatic? Did I? Do you have to assign the record? There's nothing to do. Oh, no. I see what you're saying. All I'm using AUM for is so you can see the synths. I don't need AUM for this. This is doing all the door work, if you like. All I'm doing is MIDI mapping these synths to this in AUM. That's all. Because I've got like better control over it. Because I'm basically all I'm using AUM for is what it's supposed to be for, is a mixer between the actual levels of the track. But you don't have to do nothing at all inside AUM. Not using AUM's transport at all. It's doing nothing, you know. It starts off because it's linked, but it's not doing out. It's not paying any attention to that BPM, neither. Watch. No, it's not, Colin. Honestly, you're not. It's not because you're a MIDI, because I probably didn't explain it. But no, this is doing all the work. Like that, actually. So what I am going to do is, I think I'm on scene 2, and yes, I am. It also has a weight load thing on here called weight load. Have shift, and that's highlighted. That says weight load, and that will mean that when you swap scenes or patterns, etc., it waits till the next bar to change, which is quite nice. It doesn't give you can turn that off as well. You can turn wait for the load to off, or set how it responds if it's 1 bar, 2 bars, or whatever. So let's change scenes. But not the best example of a track to be on. This would be better. So yeah, that's pretty much your how you do it. Like I said, you can have up to 16 patterns independently, whether they're sequences, arpeggios, whatever you like. Again, you can truly just swap everything back around. So if we let's take triplet off this, let's take triplet off that, let's take triplet off this, and we'll have completely changed the feel. Let's be this maybe that one a bit slower. You might want the drums a bit quicker, I don't know. No. Half speed. So brilliant. So save this as KeyStep Pro 1, Project 1, because it's the same as this. Save Project 1, done. And before I go, I'll show you the connections. I'm only using the USB. Ignore this one. It's me sustain pedal. If I highlight this, it's probably not responding to sustain, but maybe Quantaril. I unplug that. Let me show you what's on the back. Let's see if you can get an idea. So you can, it will power via USB, but it comes with a plug. It's better to use that, save you dropping out any power. So on and off. I'm using the USB with this, so everything has been controlled via the USB inside the iPad. I could then take, say, it's got two MIDI outs, MIDI out, MIDI 1, MIDI out 2. It's got a MIDI in. It's got, and this is for your metronome. It's got an output, a direct output, so you could hear it, but the little speaker's loud enough to get going. It's got clock in, out, and reset out, and then it's got drum gate. So if you've got like a modular drum machine or a drum machine that will receive gates, you can set 8 of these channels to drum gates and play them off the keyboard. Then you have gate velocity and mod and pitch, CV for each of the 4 voices, and all these can be used at the same time. You know, you can send this stuff off everywhere at the same time. You don't need to just have it running with a USB. Like I said, I could leave this all set up as a, and then have MIDI output 1 playing like the Matrix Brute, MIDI output 2 playing a channel on the the Mini Brute or the Micro Freak, and that, well, and then, well, it's endless. Do you know what I mean? You can, if you want to get set up with all this crazy stuff, yeah, it's ideal for modular. If you're into modular, it's got you covered. So yeah, brilliant. So there's the first demo for what's it. I just want to quickly, because my MIDI controller, MIDI controller was behaving. Oh, is that Quanta being a dickhead? Yeah. Weird. Don't know why that's doing now. Right, let's get rid of Quanta. Let's try something else. I just want to quickly set this up. So, I'm gonna route this to the KeyStep and what was it? Channel 3. Boink. Channel 3. I wonder why. I wonder what I've done here. I know. Let me just plug this back in. Where's me what's it? And now at the end of the evening, folks, you get to see the fun stuff. What the hell have I done with me thing? Where's me? What's this it? God. Right. Let's plug me sustain back in. Okay, and turn it back on. If it's like the little KeyStep, it should recognize the polarity of the controller. So hopefully this will be right, there you go. You have to it's best if you plug your sustain pedal in first before you turn it on, and then the KeyStep recognizes the, because on my sustain pedal you can choose, it has obviously the negative and positive polarity settings, because different keyboards use different settings. So right, I'm just going to save that scene again. See this boom, and save project, because I didn't before I knocked it off. Okay, so let's try. And one last thing about the mutes. On the drum track, the mutes become mutes for each independent track. So if you hold mute, mute the snare and or the kick. Sorry. And that, guys, is pretty much all I've got time for tonight. Yes. So I hope you enjoyed it, guys. I hope if you were considering a KeyStep, I know an awful lot of people are interested in the KeyStep Pro and the different things it can do, and would it add anything to your... I can't see how it wouldn't add stuff to your... And if I wasn't extremely lucky to have Arturia send me this stuff for reviews and demo things. I mean, I actually did buy the little KeyStep, the one that Joe customized. And I guess I probably definitely would have bought this as well, 100%, because not only is it a real nice experience programming it, and it's nice, and you can get involved with getting the different patterns and setting up all the different stuff for each of the actual tracks. But as a MIDI controller, it's quite nice. You have three octaves. It's nice, and it's nice and compact. It's nice because the amount of times I use the KeyStep for demos and stuff. If it wasn't a synth I had to go all over the keyboard with. Has a really nice... Done it again, look. Who knows? Who knows? Oh, I don't know. Anyway, there you go. I am going to let you guys say ta-da. Hopefully next Thursday we'll be doing Andrea's new album. Yes. Oh, we've also got a new album from Dean to come very soon as well, but I've just got to get the mastering done on that as well. So there may even be 2 music nights next week. You never know. Anyway, yes. I'm going to let you guys say ta-ra to each other. My arm is killing me, by the way, guys, at the moment as well, mate. It's absolute agony. But it's just now permanently right at the moment now, just throbbing all the time because I've been using it. Anyway, I really do hope you enjoyed that. It's a really entertaining piece of hardware. And I will see you guys very soon, hopefully tomorrow, with some interesting stuff. Who knows? Who knows what will come tomorrow? Anyway, or what we'll be doing with the iPad. Love that sound. Ta-ta!